Your instructor's Casey Jones.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, you didn't pay money for this.
Ooh, that's it.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Console Comparison, and today we're looking at the 1993 release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Let's jump right into the story. For the Sega Genesis version, as you can see, Evil Splinter has been kidnapped by a group of clones who similarly resemble the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's all from Krang, who wants them to come to Dimension X, fight his minions, and challenge Krang himself, as well as Karai from the Foot Clan Elite Club. For the Super Nintendo version, it's pretty much similar, just in a little more detail. April and Splinter were both kidnapped by the evil Shredder, and you must fly around through the US to find many clues to see where he's actually located. And there's many different characters you go through as well. Both stories are pretty cool. Not much in plot, but you know, for 1993 it got the job done. The Super Nintendo one were a little bit more animated, has a little more cutscenes even throughout the story mode too, so it's a little more in-depth as the Sega Genesis version, but that's not saying much. Okay, after this we're gonna jump into the character section. Now let's jump into the character and game mode differences. The Super Nintendo version has a little bit more characters. Most of them are from the comic book series, which is a tease because in the background of the Super Nintendo version you see a lot of the cartoon series characters. The Genesis version has one exclusive character, that's Syphilis or Syphisis or whatever you can call him. He's the guy in the back right there on the left screen. And yeah, so there's a varied amount in both of the games, just the Super Nintendo version has a little bit more. Now for game modes, they both have the single player, two player. The Super Nintendo has a watch mode, there's the options, and there's tournament mode. The tournament for the Genesis version is a little different. You just play a round of 88 guys. The Super Nintendo version, as you can see, has its own story mode with each individual character result ending, and it's just fighting to see who the strongest turtle is. Now I'm pretty much going to talk about all the other comparisons. First, let's talk about the music. It's both really good. The Super Nintendo one is a little more lively, but the Genesis one has a great dark themed score. As you can see, I'm alternating between the two in the background. You barely can even tell which is which because they're both so good. For graphics, both the games look generally well. Animations are good, but the Super Nintendo version is a lot better. It has a lot more fluids of animation. The characters pop out, you know, everything's moving in the background, there's so much to see. The Genesis version, even though the characters look really well and it has like a darker theme to it, there's not much for like the whole overall presentation. It's very pretty blah. Now for sound effects, the Super Nintendo version does have more voiceovers, and it sounds just generally better because just from their sound chip. The Genesis one isn't bad though. For play mechanics though, the Super Nintendo version has the edge because it plays more like Street Fighter, and it's just an overall well-balanced game. The Genesis version is it just doesn't have many button layouts. There's only a punch, a kick, and a taunt, as well as a finisher, which you hold the taunt and do like a series of moves on the D-pad to finish it off on the characters in red. But with that, you can do a harder punch and kick, you just have to hold forward, which makes it kind of awkward and clunky to play. The Super Nintendo version has two punches, two kicks, and there is a super meter that does like a finisher move that's only in tournament mode, and you have to hold both the punch kicks and do something to unleash it when the character's almost dead. Both games play really good, as you can see. It's just I have to give the edge to the Super Nintendo version because you can tell that Konami just gave more love to the overall game of it right there. Now let's just move on to the ending comparisons. Now there's not much for both of the games. As you can see from the splash screen, you both defeat Karai, and she gets pretty upset. You rescue Splinter, and he says a little slogan, you know, thank you, you guys done pretty well, and that's it. The Super Nintendo version has like one extra scene because he says, oh, you must continue your training just in case to see what happens. The other thing is, in like the Genesis version, Shredder just, or Splinter just says thank you. You get a splash screen, as well as the credits. Now, the Super Nintendo version does have alternate endings in the tournament mode, which all has a little story for each individual character, even the hidden ones that you get, like Rat King and Karai. But this one is just a palette swap of whoever you beat the game with, and I did it with Don, as you can see. The other ones will be background. Nothing that special. But what did you expect for 1993? Hey guys, hope you enjoyed my console comparison videos. Stay tuned for the next one, which is, whoa, what is this? A new challenger. Yes, they did create a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the NES in 1994. This game was developed late in the NES's life cycle, and it is extremely rare. It can go up to between $150 for just a regular copy of the game. Now, the story of this one is Turtles are just chilling out, and Shredder wants to challenge them on the street for a fight. And you get all your little characters here. They all want to see who's the toughest one. They all come out and see what they can do, and they all challenge each other. I believe that's the whole story right there. For modes, as you can see, there's not many. There's the story which you just go through. You fight the Turtles, or their clones, supposedly. You fight Hothead, who's from the comic books, and then Shredder. You also get a 2-player in a tournament mode, which 4 players can compete up to each other and fight. The game actually sounds really good. It plays really good. The sound effects is actually good, really well. There's many different stages. For an NES, there's actually bonus stages. You get a punch and kick, as well as a move. Now, this is pretty hefty for an NES game. There's also an appearance by Shredder, who comes flying across in this little square, and he drops this ball, as you can see, which gives you like a huge move that you can go against your opponent. Whoever gets it first can use it. Overall, there's not much else to say about this. As you can see, all 3 games are tremendously different, considering they all have the same name. But it was all made by Konami, and it's pretty cool to see that, because it gives you incentive to play different versions of the game. Now, the ending of this version isn't that bad for the NES, considering that, you know, the cutscenes are still images. They actually look really well. The graphics are done really well. It doesn't matter which turtle you beat it with, you're going to get the same ending, just a different palette swap. All they do is pretty much tell Shredder not to do this same stuff again, and he basically gets up, runs away, and Turtles celebrate, as you can see here. He has this Super Shredder form, which is pretty cool, because I think it did come out around the same time as Turtles 2. But yeah, this whole game, as it plays out, I'd just like to say thank you for another episode, and please rate, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas of other console comparisons, please let me know. And until next time, guys, take care.